And turn myself. I'm going to attempt to do the hokey pokey and turn myself around here.
Okay. All right. So we're live now, and we're doing a sound check. So JT. That's the hokey pokey, you guys. Hey. That is what it's all about. What if that were true?
What if that were true?
What if that's really all it was about?
What if it was?
That would be, can you imagine how great and joyous life would be if that's all it was about?
I can't think of a whole lot of problems that would arise out of that.
No, everybody can put their whole self in and take their whole self out.
Yeah, but if somebody's missing an arm and you say, put your right hand in, then somebody's going to be offended because they're like, I don't have a right hand. Thanks a lot. And then they'll get up and storm out of the room and turn your merch table over.
Right. But see, then they would be making it about more than what it's all about.
Well, that's true. That's true.
That's what it's all about. You just put your
what
right.
What are you talking about?
You're the one that was talking about the hokey pokey.
Yeah, it all started with the hokey pokey. Everything sprung out of the hokey pokey there.
Well, I'm hoping this makes me a little less darky warky.
It's gonna.
Lord said, it's getting kind of darky warky.
Yes, I was annoying my husband immensely one day.
I couldn't remember whether it was you or Mandy that was doing the wacky, Jackie.
But
wacky.
It wasn't. The thing, it wasn't actually annoying him. That was the problem, because if it had annoyed him, I probably would have stopped. But he was a perfect neutral about it. And the longer I did it, the more I was cracking myself up.
So she would say a word, and then she would just put a W in front of that word.
So it started with I was changing the baby, and I was like, "Whoo, you're stinky. You're a stinky winky baby." And then we would giggle because that's stupid. And then it just did not stop. And I would look at Joe every time. So I'd be like, what? This is
dinner winner.
Yeah, here I go to make dinner winner.
What is you want me to add you to the stream, producer? What are you doing? She's pointing keyboard. Want me to do a thing?
It's like the unknown comic. We've got the unknown producer tonight.
I can see her backstage, but I don't know what she wants. Do you want me to add you to the stream? No. I can't hear you. I know. So what do you want me to do? You want me to start the show? No, she said, I don't know what to do. We have to start. I have to push the.
She needs the 6-digit login code. She's trying to log into Luke's computer. Read the chat, man.
Oh, I need to check my email. Okay, well, while I'm doing that, I'm gonna start the show. Can I do that? Okay. All right. Hey, we're having technical difficulties here tonight, you guys. Thanks for joining us.
So it feels like season 1.
This is gonna be great. I can't wait. Let's get it started somewhere over here.
Gonna kill the room, gonna talk some smack. Cutting it down like a lumberjack. Come take a ride in my Cadillac. Kicking it live on the radio. Everybody got a right to know. This ain't my first rodeo. Hit the spotlight, here we go. Are you ready for the show? 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 Everybody gonna be so blessed. Hoping you cats gonna
Oh, we don't have Brian to point tonight. I'm sad.
We got Tabby to point. Tabby will do
Yeah.
whatever we need. Welcome to the show, everybody.
That's a nice point.
Thank
My name-
you.
Made a little widow's peak.
Mm-hmm. I don't have one of those.
My name is John. That is JT, son of Pat.
Yes.
And Tabby Grace, aka Tabsha. Happy Mother's Day, Tabby.
Thank you.
And our beloved producer is working feverishly to try to get online. She's having some technical difficulties, and we are going to soldier on because we got a show to do.
We do have a show. I'll bet it's a big one too.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea.
Yeah.
You don't have any idea. So can I?
I don't. That's why I was getting ready to ask. How big
She's
is it?
Shrugging. Well, I was so busy trying to do everything myself that I didn't have a chance to bring it up, but I will right now and
I know
show
last
you.
week's show was this big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
last week.
can it be bigger than that?
Last week.
Hello?
Oh,
There
What
she
is
We
is.
can hear you.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
mhm.
You look distraught, Amanda.
I've been through the ringer.
You need some cheering up.
Go ahead.
Happy Mother's Day, Amanda.
Thanks. That helps. Am I quiet or is it okay?
No,
No,
you're
you
fine. You
sound
sound great.
good.
Mhm.
Okay.
We were just getting ready, Peach, to talk about how big the show is this week.
All right.
That was
You
pretty
can
typical.
do that. I'm going to put this other computer away. It's down here. Let me show you.
Can we afford
Sorry.
to get
Damn.
Can we afford to get a computer for you that will work, or is that a
This is
crazy
a sensitive topic right now. We'll have to talk about it when I'm less distraught.
idea? Okay. Well, I mean, computers you can get them. You know, they have other computers that you can just go get, right, Tab?
I don't know. I haven't had a computer in a long time. This one behind me, actually, you can see it, was built. And it was built in like 2019, and it's very broken.
Hmm.
It's the
I'm just
only
going
one
to
I
sit
have.
here like this the whole show.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'll do all the smiling.
Well, if this is a typical show represented by this mastodon, I wish I could take a picture of Peach's cranky face and put that in here for a typical show. Tonight's show looks a little something like this, you guys.
Ooh, nice transition.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Peeling off
Why
those
does it
dollar
look like that?
bills, slapping them down. 100, 200. Who is
I
that
don't
little guy? I
understand
like
the
him.
reference.
That's a U2 song. Bullet the Blue Sky.
He's making it rain, Tab. That's what.
Did anybody do this? Did anybody say hi? Let everybody say hi. I
No,
wasn't here.
everybody say hi. I was panicked because you were not here. And so I thought we were going to have to do the whole show by ourselves.
I had no idea that my audio was just going to completely cut out. I was screaming. My throat hurts a little bit. I was like, hello! Hello!
Right. But anyway. You know, the problem with this graphic that I'm just noticing is it doesn't look like he's big. It just looks like he's standing in the foreground.
Yeah, but he's got big money.
He's got big ambitions.
He got
Big
big
dreams.
money.
He got big money.
Come on, big money.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. We didn't.
Everybody's happy on Mother's Day.
Everybody who either is a mother, was a mother, or has a mother, or had a mother. Yeah. Happy Mother's
Or
Day.
knows one.
I think
Or knows a
everybody.
mother.
We know a mother.
I think everybody does have a mother by default.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's why I said it that way because I was trying to be inclusive. I was trying to make sure everybody felt like they
Or if you want to be a mother.
Good for you.
Or if
want to be a
you-
mother. If you know how to
Yeah.
spell mother.
Or if you like mothers.
If you've ever turned the word wow upside down,
Mm-hmm.
happy Mother's Day.
Oh, gosh.
And hello to Pat in the background.
Yep.
Yeah, they're giving out a
Wayne
shout
Oh.
to Pat in the background. Yeah.
Wayne is saying hi to you, Mom.
She's kind of
Waving.
Well, is
That is
Tommy back
waving.
there too?
Tommy's back here too. Yeah.
Oh, I see him. Okay, they're both back
Yeah,
there.
they're
There
waving.
he
Oh,
is.
there's his leg.
Happy Mother's Day, Tommy.
Tommy's leg
Sujay
is back
likes
there.
mothers, so she can stay tonight.
Okay, so we gave a shout out to moms, and we also need to give a shout out to the Cliquers. So I'm gonna do
Yay,
that.
clickers. We love
Yeah.
clickers.
Cliquers are well, you know, you Cliquers know
Ugh.
who you are.
Yeah. You just
Yeah. No, not that.
Clickers will make us cheer. Clickers are why we're here. Clickers have got mad skills. Clickers will give us chills. Clickers are all the rage. Clickers are live backstage. Clickers are fresh and clean. Clickers are lean and mean. Clickers are on the scene.
who are our clickers tonight?
Our Clickers tonight, in no particular order, are I have to do everything. Tonight it's Kevin Thatcher and Nicholas
Olsen. Yeah, that might be the first time you've done 2 males.
No, it's not.
It might be.
It might be, but it's not.
It's not.
Oh.
Not even close.
Why am I on the show again? Why do you need me here? Just want me to go.
Way to let us know that you never watch.
What do I even do here?
We are appreciative of all of our clickers. Thank you for supporting us. If you would like to join our merry band of clickers, you can do so at johnbrandon.com, which has a crawl line. But you know what? There's no reason to get our act together now. We've made it this far. johnbrandon.com, you can sign up and help support the show. We sincerely appreciate it. We sort of make light of it and we kind of talk like it's not important. We're sort of tongue in cheek sometimes, but we really do appreciate your support.
Yeah, it's crucial.
Yep. You can join us at the Effort Party, which is there's a link on the members page. And
always fun. Lots of fun.
Always fun. And we never know exactly what is going to happen.
Chaos. It's always just unfettered chaos.
I did it.
It's somewhat fettered. It's not unfettered.
Somewhat fettered.
Somewhat fettered.
There have been some effort parties though that have been completely unfettered.
Yeah, usually the ones where you've had a lot of caffeine, JT.
This is true. I haven't had much today.
But a lot of them are like right about here.
Yeah, they're just right at whelmed.
Yeah.
The old whelmometer.
Yep.
Never
Whelmometer.
Mm-hmm.
Whelmometer.
Whelmometer.
So many things about this show are so great and so underused.
I got a hitch in my neck. I was so busy throwing computers around in my office. I broke something right here.
She hurt herself.
You know what? Speaking of breaking something, I'm about to tell you something that has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
I was looking at a
segue.
video about deep sea octopuses. And they will sit on their eggs. They will protect their eggs for, do you know how long the mother octopus will protect the eggs?
I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that they don't give birth to live babies because I kind of thought they did.
They're fish.
Oh.
Go
They're
on.
squid.
They're not mollusks, but they're invertebrate. They're fish. Why would they give birth to live?
Like a seahorse or like a squid. They don't have eggs.
I guess guppies give birth to live babies too, don't they?
Mm-hmm. They do.
So do whales.
So do
whales are men.
And so do lions.
I haven't had a whole
Whales
lot
are
of time.
mammals.
I haven't had a whole lot of time to contemplate the egg protecting practices of an octopus. Like about 30
Well, it's
seconds.
Mother's Day. It's
Are we
Mother's Day, you
talking-
guys.
Are we talking in one go, like no breaks, or like duration of the egg's life?
Yes,
So like no eating, no getting up to use the bathroom. They just sit there.
They literally sit there and they do not move. They go into like everything shuts down except for their like their basic system, their ocular system. And then
10 months.
Yeah. Anybody else have a guess how long they They said Tabby says 10 months. The rest of you are certainly open
Oh, here.
to
7
nobody
minutes.
else knows.
7 minutes.
minutes.
Nobody says moms don't lay eggs.
About
Moms don't
one
lay
length of a YouTube video, and then they got to get
And
out.
then they gotta go. Well, I'm
Yeah.
out. I'm bored. I'm out of here.
One episode of Days of Our Lives.
7
Yeah.
seconds.
3 months, 7 seconds. Yeah, that would be the father octopus.
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Tabby said 10 months, and she is way under.
What?
Really?
Yeah, way under.
Wow.
Why are their eggs not hatching faster? They should give
Telling
birth
you.
to a live baby at that point.
I'm telling you,
Maybe
it's
it's the pressure. Maybe it's the water pressure.
interesting. It's 6 months. It was 4.5 years.
You're kidding me.
No, I would
How
not
do they
kid
not
you. I
die?
would not kid you on Mother's Day about the length of
What?
octopuses sitting on their eggs. 2 years.
Unbelievable.
2 years is about halfway. She lays thousands of eggs and then braids them all together into little bunches, then watches over them for months. See?
You Googled that, Jeff
no.
Wayne.
No,
You didn't
that's-
know that.
That's the sort of information that Jeff has just at the tip of it.
Yeah.
ready
I
to go.
believe it. I
He
believe
was
it.
like,
Yeah. He's like, you're
Just
talking
waiting.
octopus gestation? Right up my alley.
He's just
Yeah.
waiting for that opportunity.
Yeah. Maybe this will be the week when they talk about octopuses sitting on their eggs.
I think it's
Yes, it
octopus.
is. 4.5 years. And it occurred to me as I was thinking about the mother octopus, I was thinking about people mothers who are also dedicated to caring for and protecting and nurturing, but really they do it for even longer than 4.5 years.
I go to sleep
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. I get
Yeah.
to eat
And you do
delicious
eat.
things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
we
can
don't
hire a
just-
babysitter.
We don't just stare at them the whole time.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but
it gives you some
it's
idea
interesting.
about where the animal brain is, because I mean to sit there for 4.5 years.
And then
As
when
a-
you're done, you just have this creepy looking 8-legged like
Well, they usually
It's
die.
not creepy to the mommy
Usually die.
octopus, though.
it's not creepy.
That's true.
To
She
her.
thinks it's very cute.
That's right.
Octopuses have a face only a mother can love.
That's right. You know, you could argue after hearing that, you could argue that octopi care more about their offspring than most of the human
And
race.
humans, yeah. There you go.
That could be a valid argument.
Yeah, but we don't want to talk about that on Mother's Day. I would rather make a parallel to how mother octopuses and people mothers
People
are-
mothers.
I just
People
feel like
mothers,
if you're
like-
going to be that connected to the kid, if you're going to be that invested for 4 years, you might as well do what the elephants do and
I was
grow
just
them
thinking that.
inside, because
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
at least walk around
Right.
uncomfortably. But
Miserably, but you
Yeah.
can.
Well, Pat
it didn't-
Gala says that once they're hatched, they're on their own. So that's
Right.
that's not really
Right.
good. They're just like, okay, I'm done.
Mm, right.
That's it.
Well, she spent 4.5 years, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it didn't say this specifically in the video that I watched, so I don't know for sure. But I don't think that the octopuses have much say in that. I think that they pretty much lay eggs because that's what they have to do.
Right.
Peach.
oh,
It's
Is
not
that
like
it?
they were given an option
Yeah.
and they chose the eggs.
Hmm.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe we should try to tempt the octopi next time for science. You know, here's bowling, or you can sit on your eggs for 4 years.
You think bowling would draw them off the nest?
I don't know. It's going to require
Lots
science.
of wine over here.
Yeah.
I don't drink wine, but on social media, I've gotten the
Uh-huh.
message that mommies really like wine. So
Here's
here's
a hot bubble bath.
bubble bath, me
Or
time.
your-
Just a
me
sign
time.
that says me time over here.
Uh-huh.
Then-
You pick
Your eggs, and
You-
we'll see
and
what you
see.
You remember where I said these are deep sea octopuses, right? So,
Yeah. So it's going to take some real research, but I think this is for the betterment of humanity that we find out.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that just proves they've never had a glass of wine. So
Well, they did try to give them food, and the octopuses they did not respond to the offer of food. I don't know if they tried, sporting events,
Right.
Yeah.
Zumba.
a nice
kind of food?
Moscato.
Yeah,
Mhm.
chocolate
Chance has
bar.
got some interesting info
Chocolate.
that I was not aware of.
I pulled that up about
Yeah.
the moray eels. That seems
Yeah.
a little mildly suspect, but
I
There
don't
you go.
believe you, Chance.
you can trust everything that you see on SCQS.
Right.
Bring me the facts.
Anything? Any comment?
Oh,
You can
boy.
trust anything that a moray eel does too. They do.
Hmm.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that by looking at them, but they're actually they're creatures of noble character. Those eels.
I actually just saw a meme about the moray eels. Moray meals. The moray eels on Reddit the other day, I think.
Mhm.
And they were now I have to find one. When an eel bites your thigh, then you bleed out and die. That's a moray. Yes. Put your hand in that crack and you won't get it back. That's a moray. There's just dozens of them.
They have some of those that are actually really helpful. I think they've done some for like how to identify like certain fish, or like the difference between a crocodile and an alligator. They
Mhm.
have little like quippy songs like that.
Yep.
Mhm. The shape of their faces.
Hmm.
That's
Right.
how.
Well,
Well, you know how you can tell the difference between a crocodile and alligators. It's much easier than that.
Yeah, I know
Because,
how.
well, if you say goodbye and it says see you later, it's an alligator.
Alligator.
It says after a while, it's a crocodile.
Exactly.
Mhm.
well done.
Okay. I have a video to show.
Oh,
tonight.
no.
You know what the video is, don't you?
I'm pretty sure I do.
Okay, I'll bet you can guess.
My goodness.
And then we're gonna do stories tonight. We've got some embarrassing stories. This is one of the highlights. Some skews is when Tabby comes on. When Tabby comes on, there's going to be an embarrassing story shared. But tonight we've got a little twist that we've never had before. But before we get to that, this is a video that was sent to me and Luke this week by Amanda, and we won't be able to talk over it because I got it plugged in back here. But here it is. This is what we.
Okay.
Wait, I want to ask you a question.
What is it?
Today is your first soccer practice.
Okay.
You've never been to a soccer practice before.
What if I win it?
It's not a game, so you're not going to be competing. There's no winners and losers at practice.
Okay.
How do you think it's going to go?
I probably will win it.
But it's not a game.
I'll probably win it.
What do you think happens at soccer? What do you think you'll do?
I'll win.
What will you win?
I'll win practice.
How do you do that?
I win practice if you beat the game.
But if you don't know how to play, then how are you going to win? What are they going to do there? What are you going to do there? The first thing you get there, what do you think the first thing will happen?
Beat everybody. Beat everybody.
He is in it to win it.
Beat everybody.
I'll probably win it.
So that is actually a video that was shown after Mandy had already sent me a polo, because I am Silas and Marcy's coach. And he was very concerned when he found this out, and he had to ask me if I had a whistle.
He was skeptical. He was like, I was like, Tabby's your coach. And he goes, does she have a whistle? And I said, I'll have to ask her. And I texted her and asked if she had a whistle. You said not yet. And I said, Tabby says she doesn't have a whistle yet. And he goes, she can't be a coach.
And so I had to go on and defend my authority, even though I was sans whistle. And I was like, I will get one. I will get a whistle.
I'm not going to take orders from a whistleless coach.
Well, then I got to tease him. I got to tease him because Teresa, who's his grandmother, gave me a whistle while I was at Mandy's house, and I was like, Silas, look what I got. And he was like, can I just blow it once? And I
And you
said,
were like,
no,
"Nope."
you're not the coach.
You're not the coach.
Ooh, ooh,
It
ooh.
was like, I hate to break it to you, but you are not a coach. You are just an Aunt Tabby.
Yeah, I am now a coach.
There is literally
have a-
no difference between Aunt Tabby and you unless you have a whistle.
I have
So
never
now I'm
seen
coach.
her with a whistle. How could she possibly coach? Could I just have one? It just made me think of, can I just have one blow of your whistle?
Right, one.
That's not the statement.
Yes, that's what it was like.
It was Colin. It was Colin saying to his sister, Cammy, can I please have just one suck of your candy cane? One suck. I'm trying to imagine that as a unit.
A unit of measurement.
It's killed me.
And we're like, we talked about it for a long time. Would a suck be? Would it be a
Is it
volume,
like-
or would it be a length of time?
right? Could you technically like suck in and not break the suction and just hold it like that for like
Is
an
that
hour
one
or
suck?
more?
Right.
And that would still be one suck?
Yeah, you
technically?
need a chart too, like 2 sucks equals 1 what? Slurp.
Right.
Like 2 sucks
Right.
is 1 slurp, and
Right.
and then 4 slurps equals
How many?
A gulp. That'd be a gulp.
Hoover or
How
something.
many-
I don't know.
How many sucks in a teaspoon?
Yeah.
How many? Yeah.
Yep.
Does it take to get to the center? You know.
Yeah, you make a little fridge magnet so you can always have a reference.
Oh,
Your teaspoons and
that would
tablespoons.
be the cutest fridge magnet. I'm picturing it right now.
Oh man.
All right, so that gets us started on the stories. And Tabby, you do have a story, right? Like a story.
I have a story. I hate to admit, it's actually not about me because, contrary to popular belief, I'm not an absolute idiot all the time. So I live most of my life without embarrassing myself. And so I just don't have one off the top of my head right now. I'm sure there will be plenty more. But
Mhm.
I have passed on this trait of like secondhand embarrassment to my daughter. And I remembered this story actually in the kitchen today and already told it to Mandy because we were talking about preschoolers and what their imagination is like. And I teach a lot of preschoolers, and I was talking about how they will be so invested, even though they kind of know it's imaginary. And so my first example was when I was teaching the homeschool co-op, and I pretended they were explorers, and we had on our backpacks, and we walked into the gym, and I pulled off my backpack. This is what I'm doing, by the way. Pulled off my backpack, and I go, all right, kids, we're explorers. We're going to go on a bear hunt. But first, we need to get on our gear. So let me just open my backpack. And they all go, what? And I'm peeking in, and I'm like, oh, and they all get closer. And I'm like, I can't show you this. And they all get a little closer. And I'm like, this backpack has my underwear in it. And I'm like, this is the wrong backpack. And of course they all giggle, and I throw it over my shoulder. Literally, I turn around and go, this is the right backpack. And they're all like on the edge of their little seats. And I'm like, now we can get ready. So I'm talking about, this, what's it called? Cognitive dissonance, basically, and suspension of disbelief. That's what it is.
Right.
And how they know that it's not real, but they cannot help it. They get sucked into imaginative play.
Right.
And
We
so I
can
was
tell
talking
stories about that like all night.
all day.
Different types of we've done imaginary play with a kid and had them be so invested in it that it became hilarious.
That time that Cammy was going across your living room,
Yeah.
and
She
the
goes,
dragon.
there's a dragon in the living room. And I went, a dragon. And she goes, ah! It's like, it just like all of a sudden got really real. She had that moment when you're going up the stairs from the basement and all of a sudden you're like, ah!
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff. Well, I was playing with Warren, and this is what reminded me of it because they were playing with a flashlight today in the kitchen and pretending it was a phone. And I said, yes, Warren loves to play the phone game where we say, hello, who is it? Oh, it's Mimi. Oh, it's Papa John. Oh, it's whatever. And I pretend to talk to them and then hand the phone to Warren, whatever. Well, my older kids, who are far too old for that game, always want to play. I want to play. I'm like, you want me to go, it's so and so. And I'm like, this is a baby game. This is for Warren. Well, they were adamant. And so I was like, fine, we'll play it. And so I'm like, bring, bring. I go, hello. And I go, oh, really? It's Jessie? I said, oh, hello, Jessie.
Who's Jessie?
You got to tell who Jessie
Who's
is.
Jessie?
I will. All right. So Jessie, and I'm sad he's not here, is Juwan's son. He's like 15 now.
Yeah.
15 or so. And Marcy is in love with Jessie and has been since vacay with the comics,
Yeah.
the first one. And I don't think
2
she's in the
years.
bath right now, or she'd be embarrassed right now
At
that I'm
least
even
2
telling
years.
this story. So she's been in love with Jessie. There is a pretty sizable age gap, like 11 years between them, but she
Yeah,
is undaunted. She thinks he's wonderful. Probably doesn't know anything about him. And
Like
so
if
I
we're
know
on
it was,
Skews and Juwan is on, she will
Yes.
come around the corner. Marcy will be like, what are they
Is
doing?
Jessie-
What's Juwan saying? Because
Is
she can't
Jessie
hear,
there?
like when Tabby's got her earbuds in and she'll be like, is Jessie with him? What's he saying? Is he saying something about Jessie? No, you don't.
no, it's not even about you. Or Apollo will come up and she'll be like, when am I going to go to Jessie's house? Like, probably never. They live in Georgia.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm like, oh, hello? Oh, hi, Jessie. And then she's like, and she's like, Mom. And I'm like, Mom. And I said, oh, really? You don't say. And I'm looking over at Marcy. She's like over here. Like, you don't say. And she's like, Mom. And I'm like, I think Marcy has something that she's wanted to tell you. And she's like, Mom. And I literally go, excuse me, I'm on the phone. Holding my hand up. And I'm like, I'm on the phone. You're being rude. Like covering the mouthpiece. And I'm like, yeah, sorry about that, Jessie. That's just Marcy over there. And she really has wanted to tell you. And she starts to panic. She's like, no, don't tell him. And like runs over and is trying to pull my hand away. And I'm like batting her off. And I stop. I'm on the phone.
That's so great.
And it gets to the point where I'm like pausing and I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him that you love him.
Don't say a word.
And she's like, don't.
Mom, no.
And so I was like, I'm sorry, you wanted to play the phone game. This is what it's like. And
You
so I
asked for
did tell
this.
them. I said
So
eventually
anyway.
they did think it was hilarious. And then it got to the point where they're like, okay, now do Mimi. And so I'd be like, Mimi, Simon's pooping his pants right now. And he'd be like, no, I'm not. And I'd be like, shh, I'm talking to your grandma. You know.
What's so great is you telling them this is a baby game. It's not for, and then you figured out a way to ratchet it up so that they were like, ah!
That's great.
This is so real. Don't you dare tell Jessie. Excuse me, sorry, Jessie.
Tabby goes, oh, it's Jessie. She goes, Mom. Like, Marcy immediately goes, Mom. Like, I know how you are.
Mom, hang up the phone. I can't. Jessie called. It would be rude. I have to talk to him. You go, oh, really? Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. So funny. I did not expect her, because she's smiling. So, like, again, she knows that she couldn't possibly, but also, what if?
Yeah.
Right. Plus you were a pretty good actress, so you sort of sold it.
Right. That's not really Jessie, but also on the slight chance it is, I want you to hang up.
I don't want to take that chance.
I don't want to
Got
take
some
it.
kind of weird Bluetooth in your fingers.
Yep. And I don't think they've played the phone game since, but it's a shame. I enjoy that game.
The dragon. All right, so Mandy has a story. That's the surprise this week. That Mandy.
Really?
Yeah.
You want me to tell this story right now at this
I
moment?
do.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
so happy it's not me.
All right. Well. Okay. So I actually have two stories. So I could tell another one. Like, I almost feel like the story from 2 weeks ago could be the closer, if you will. And
Okay.
But I do have a story about what happened at the library. Do you remember the library story?
Mm-hmm.
So a few weeks ago at the library, I had my kids there for several hours because we were doing school. So we were there long enough that all of them at different points had to use the restroom. And so I was going back and forth to the restroom multiple times. And we basically had set up shop there. Like, we made ourselves comfortable and we were there all afternoon. So by the like 4th or 5th trip, I finally had to go myself. And so I left all the kids back in the children's area, but I went back to the bathroom for the 5th time. And I just went and then washed my hands. And then as I'm about to walk out the door, I was like, I know my kids, and I bet somebody didn't flush. Like, I better just go and check the other stall to make sure that it's flush, because my kids never flush. That's just the way that it is.
They don't.
And so
it's not because they're not told to flush.
Not because they're not told multiple times. So I open up the stall that I hadn't used, and sure enough, Emery had left a deposit there. And I was like, good thing I checked. So I used my foot, flushed that toilet, turn around, and as I'm walking toward the door to leave again, I'm thinking to myself, it probably looks like I didn't flush or wash my hands. It probably looks like I just flushed and walked out without washing my hands. I had washed them, but I flushed with my foot before I left. And as I'm opening the door, a woman is coming through, and I'm like, oops, excuse me. And she goes, huh? And then she goes, listening to the toilet flush, aren't you going to wash your hands? She says to me. And I was like,
yeah.
Like, my head kind of, like, my mind did a quick calculation, because I was like, first of all, it's really weird that she said that out loud. Normally, when you're thinking that probably looks like I didn't wash my hands, nobody's going to say anything. They might think it, but, like, for her to say it out loud was really caught me off guard. And so I turned to her, and I started to say, oh, yes, I did. I say, yes, I did. And then I have to explain what I mean, because there was no possible way that I could have washed my hands between the toilet flushing and walking out the door. Right. And so I'm saying, oh, I did, but my daughter, she flushed. And as I'm saying it, she has this look on her face of horror. Like, she can't believe that she said it either. She's like, and so she's smiling, but very awkwardly. And she's like, oh, it's fine. It's okay. Like, I shouldn't have said anything. That was the worst thing I could have said. So she's like over-talking me as I'm explaining the thing that could possibly have made it better.
Stop telling me. I don't want to hear. Stop it.
Don't justify it.
And also, we're like being cut off because she's now in the bathroom and I'm standing in the hallway and the door is closing.
I don't want to hear it. It's okay.
She starts to pee.
She's like, never mind, it's fine, it's fine. She's like, it's okay. And I'm like, well, my daughter went earlier and I was just flushing.
I don't deserve an explanation.
My daughter went earlier. And then the door closes.
Don't worry, I'll just never use this library again.
And so Luke pointed out when
I'm
I
horrible.
told him.
I'm horrible. You're horrible.
I told him that story later, and he's like, yeah, sure, your daughter, who's nowhere to be seen. And I was like, exactly. Like, there was no way that I could explain it.
Or you could have gone the exact opposite way and said something as the door is closing. You could have said something like, I did in the bowl.
All you had to say was, I did, but I forgot to flush and I went back. That's what I would have said. Oh, but I forgot to flush and I went back.
For that.
You didn't have to say anything.
12 seconds. No, less. It was probably like 5 seconds from her going, aren't you going to wash your hands? I'm like, oh, I did, but my daughter. And she's like, it's fine. It's okay. It's fine.
So she poloed this to the group. And I was like, Mandy, missed opportunity. All you had to say was, nope. But I have been there. I know what you're talking about. It was not a calculation. That is called a mind scramble. It just goes.
Yep. She actually said that to me, and I think it was a moment where she like instantly regretted it and didn't expect herself to say it out loud either. But it just made it worse.
Came out of her.
It's really her awkward story. Like, it was not mine.
Right.
I was not embarrassed in the least, but the whole time it was happening, I was like, well, there's no saving it. Like, she's just gonna keep making it worse.
She's probably a mom, and so she's used to like, did you wash your hands? And so it's like when you tell a perfect stranger, did you go potty? You're like, I mean, use the restroom.
You need to
You
go.
have to go to the bathroom. I think that's what it was. It was like
Yeah.
she's so used to saying, "Did you wash your hands?" and it just came out of her
Yep.
reflexively, and then she's like, "Oh, that's not my kid."
That's a grown up.
I got a
Yep.
buddy. I probably told this story on the show before, but that reminded me of that. This friend of mine named Bobby Brennan from Long Island. He's a bass player. He said he was on tour one time and he went in this restaurant and there was this guy and his son in the bathroom with him. He said, I did what I was going to do and I washed my hands and I walked out and there was this lady standing in the foyer there. And he said, I walked out and she opened her arms to me and went, Bobby Brennan. And he said, I thought she knows me. And so he said, I started walking toward her with my arms open like I was going to hug her. And he said, I got close to her and she went, get away from me. And I said, what? And he said, about that time, the guy and his son came out and they were ready to fight me. It was it was them and his name was Bobby and the son's name was Brennan. She was talking to them. And they were coming out of the bathroom right behind me. He said, I had to pull my license out and show him. I was like, my name's Bobby Brennan. He said, they didn't believe him.
What are the odds?
The odds, yeah. The only three people in the bathroom. One of them's named Bobby and Brennan, and the other two are Bobby and Brennan.
I like how he was like, I don't know you, but I guess we're hugging.
Yeah, exactly. So if you knew Bobby, he's ready to hug anybody.
So we'll get to know each other.
Yeah.
I saw a thing at the airport from a distance. I was at the gate across from where the bathroom is, and there was these three people. It was a man and his wife, and their adult sons. I assumed that they were grown-up sons, and they were all walking. And Mom peeled off and went into the restroom, and the three guys kept walking, and then they turned around and they looked, and she had walked into the men's restroom. And you could see them talking to each other, and they were kind of smirking and smiling, and then they just stood there waiting by the door. It was so great because she came out and she had her hand over her mouth, and she was like cry laughing. It was squirting out of her. She comes out like this. And they were all three just waiting for her when she came out of the men's restroom.
Did you see that? Can't wait to tell her.
We were just having a conversation. She peels off, goes into the bathroom, and they're like, okay,
they'll tell that story the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And probably she'll hate it. Well, nobody told me. Nobody stopped me.
You could have come back in after me.
Yeah, could have got me.
She looked like she was enjoying it. Okay, so we have a sponsor before you tell your story. Before we go on, we got a word from our sponsor this week, and it is. Let me add it to the streamer. It's Airbnb.
Oh.
Airbnb
Wow.
is the easy and affordable way to stay when you're away from home. Go online and select from hundreds of unoccupied houses. The owners are guaranteed to be away from the property for at least 48 hours. You pick the house, we'll supply the tools you need to get right in. Right on the front porch. Jimmy the lock, break the door, smash a window. You decide the method of entry. We'll send an email with instructions on how to disable the burglar alarm. Make yourself at home. Use the pool. Sleep in the beds. Make a sandwich in the fully stocked kitchen. Airbnb is the hassle-free alternative to booking a hotel room. It's the perfect place to relax, plan a heist, count money, hide from the cops, or stash incriminating evidence. There's plenty of room for your whole family, too. Airbnb, your big house outside the big house.
They forgot the best perk. You can take all the amenities you want. No little bottles of shampoo here. Take the whole bottle.
That's right.
You can write
Take
the
the
next.
TV.
You can write the next commercial.
That was great.
All right,
I'm signing up.
Peach. Are you gonna tell your? Or are we gonna? It's JT has a story too.
Yeah, JT has a story, and you do too, don't you?
Yeah, I have a brief story, but. All right,
So,
JT, go ahead.
my girlfriend, she got a new job, and I was very excited for her because it's a job at my firm. And how she got the job is interesting because she used to work with my ex. My ex was her boss for a long time, and so she was like her secretary, and she would take these ideas into her about what they should do to the business, and And so she would kind of encourage her, but she was like, yeah, I'll take that to the board. Maybe that may not be right up their alley, but maybe that might be an idea that they might want to use one time. Well, it turns out she stole my girlfriend's idea and she pitched it to the board, and the board liked it. And she was claiming the credit for that. So she goes on this, long story short, she goes on a ski trip. She breaks her leg. And while she's away, my girlfriend now, she goes and pitches the idea to my boss. And so when my ex comes back from her ski trip after her legs all healed up, my girlfriend confronts her and right in front of my boss and tells her she's a liar and that she took the credit for all of this stuff. And my boss is just flabbergasted. And so he fires my ex and hires my girlfriend and gives her a new job. And it's like an executive level position. So I'm very proud of her. So this morning, it was her first day on the job. So I got up early and I made her a little lunch. And as I was putting the lunch together and she was getting ready to go, she was very excited. And I wrote her a little song. And so I'm going to sing that song for you now. If I can get my piano on. An apple for the teacher and a cap to warm your head. A pencil with retractable 1/2 millimeter lead. A peanut butter sandwich and some Twinkies for dessert. Some handy wipes in case you drop some jelly on your skirt. Here's everything you need to make it through your first big day. Now for your sake and my peace of mind, there's something I should say. Play nice with the other kids and share all your toys. Make lots of friends, but steer clear of the boys. Walk with a friend if you walk through the park. And please make it home before dark. Don't worry when people try to push you around. You'll stay on your feet if you just stand your ground. Learn to ignore every jealous remark. And please make it home before dark. It's not that the night isn't beautiful. It's not like you should be afraid. It's just that we're quicker to wander the longer we linger. Whenever the light starts to fade. Just pick yourself up again if you take a fall. If you can do that, I won't worry at all. So ready, get set, on your toes, on your mark. And hurry on home, baby, hightail it home. Please make it home before dark.
So sweet.
That is a great story. I think you can make a movie out of that.
That would make a good movie. I think that'd make a good plot.
I don't know what movie it is, but Amber says it sounds like
Amber
Working
got
Girl.
it. Amber got it.
Suzanne thought she'd heard it before too.
Yep. Harrison Ford and Melanie Griffith
So
and Alec Baldwin.
it is a story. It counts.
Is it possible that Luke has a story? Is that why he's
Okay, so here's the thing. You don't know this, Dad. Well, you may have heard some of it, but literally this week, our theme, like the theme of all of our conversations, Luke's and mine, have been around stories. And so he has been showing me clips from comedians that he really admires or he wants to aspire to become more like. And he was like, I want to learn how to tell stories better because I think my issue is that I don't, he's very clipped and edited. He's always been an editor and he wants to present you with something that's very polished and punchy. And so when it comes to setup and punchline, it's tight and clean. But he's the podcast ninja because when it comes to being involved with a podcast or being involved with SKUs, he likes to come in, deliver his line, and then disappear. That's where he got his nickname from.
Mhm.
And so as a result, well, not as a result of that, but in that same vein, we've noticed that when it comes to unpacking something or giving more of a meandering narrative, that he's not as comfortable. So I was like, we're supposed to be telling stories on SCQS tonight. You should come and tell a story. And his response was, why do you always want to make people do what they're bad at? And then I laughed. It's like, because it's funny. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my husband, the podcast ninja, is going to tell us a story.
Yes, I am.
Wait.
It could be told.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear
It could be told in a couple sentences, but I'm going to try to stretch it out for my own good. So it was 2005, maybe 2004, but it was a class trip, and we were in a 15-passenger van on our way to, I believe, Tennessee. And so I was sitting in the front bench seat. If you know how a 15-passenger van is set up, they're all long benches. Teachers were in front of us. Hi, Jeff. And Amanda, my girlfriend, also on Starving Comics, the producer, was directly behind me. And so as we're setting off, my arm is over the seat, holding her hand. And I'm talking with the teachers and my friends in my own bench. And so it'd been about an hour and a half before I actually turned around and really looked at her. And when I did, I realized that I was not holding her hand. I was holding the hand of Philippe. And upon realizing that I was holding the hand of a French kid, 14 of the 15 passengers burst out laughing. They were all aware that for 90 minutes I was caressing and giving little squeezes that say, you know, it's me and you, babe, us against the world. And the whole time, my beloved was just allowing it to happen. And so I got catfished by a freshman boy for an hour and a half.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It was all for the sake of the story. I didn't know that it would pay off 20 years later, but
I'd forgotten that story.
That's great.
That's a
you
classic.
know, some of the details are a bit off, but it was Philippe, and it was entirely. It was only Luke who didn't know that he was holding.
Everybody
Philippe's
else
hand.
knew.
No, it was so much more than holding. It was caressing and squeezing.
Oh, that's true.
He
Such soft
communicated.
hand.
He communicated a lot to Philippe in those.
I did.
And it was long enough that everybody in the van was made aware of it. So you know it had to travel around the van, and that
It
didn't
had to have
happen
gone on way longer than they had hoped for, because it was a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time. It wasn't quite 90 minutes, I would say, but for the sake of the story, it's fine
But
if
it
you want to.
felt like it.
And it actually wasn't our senior trip either, or our junior trip, because Philippe was not in our class. It
Right.
was a trip back from a soccer game. So we were at an away soccer game, and I was doing stats that season, and we all were on our way back to school after a game. So, yeah.
Well, and wasn't Philippe kind of a shy kid? So the fact that it was Philippe, no, I thought that he was sort of this like
in
kind
fact,
of wallflower.
Luke's hand was not over the bench like he said. It was actually under. He was on the aisle, and so he was reaching around behind the seat in the aisle, and he was in the front, and I was behind him. And so he reaches back like this, like he's gonna hold my hand. Philippe is the one who's like grabs my hand and he goes. He puts his hand on Luke's, and I was like,
"Here we
It
go."
was totally him. Like that was
Okay, that
very
makes it better
in character for him. Like that was not out of the ordinary. Yeah.
That's great.
So
did
you let Philippe down gently?
Yeah, Philippe got over it. It was this is what happens when you send your kids to a private Christian school. This is the sort of shenanigans that they get up to.
That was Mr. Teachouts who was driving the van. That was his response when he found out. When everybody cracked up, I think Mr. Teachout knew before, like Luke did, but he also, his first comment when Luke found out that he was holding Philippe's hand the whole time was that's what you get for trying to hold her hand in the first place, because there was a strict no contact between boys and girls rule at our private Christian school.
Which you were following that rule.
He reaches his hand back and Philippe literally like stops and he's like,
all right, ninja out.
All right, bye.
Well, he made it a long time.
He did it.
Where'd Tabby go? Why'd she leave?
She probably is mothering on
Discipline her
Mother's
children.
Day.
Yeah.
Do you have a story, Dad?
Yeah, I've got a quick story. I had a friend of mine that
PDA.
friend of mine who was cutting the heads off of parking meters downtown one night, and the police came and got him and drug him off to prison, and he was working the road gang, and he fell in, he was trying to make it in prison, and one of the leaders of the prison was a guy named Dragline, and he wasn't that my friend didn't get along with him. I mean, he just didn't, he wasn't trying to get power over him, but Dragline still felt kind of threatened by him. And so there was this friction, and it culminated once with a fight and in the prison, and between my friend and Dragline, and my friend just wasn't a good fighter, and Dragline would just beat him to a pulp. But the thing is that he wouldn't stay down. Like he got beaten, and then he kept getting up and getting up and getting up, and then beat back down again, to the point where like all of the prisoners and Dragline himself was like, man, just stay down. I don't want to. He earned the respect of everybody in the prison that day by just refusing to stay down.
Yeah, that's inspirational.
Yeah.
I want to be like that. I want to get beaten down so many times that I can barely stand up.
I feel like Tabby and I have been more vulnerable than the gentleman here tonight. I feel like we've been slightly more honest.
Well, but
JT had the song, and that was
one.
Yeah, JT's song was pretty vulnerable, but I feel like the stories are a bit suspect.
Well, we've got time for one more story. And,
yay!
Speaking of vulnerability,
Tell the internet.
You guys, you have to understand that this was genuinely never supposed to go beyond Tabby and I. This was supposed to be. It was supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be funny.
You would have told me. You would have told our family.
No. I mean, like my original intent was to just have a funny thing with Tabby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I had no idea. I've told this story so many times in the last 2 weeks to people I never thought I'd be saying these words to, because the words were only meant for Tabby. But here we go.
Which warms my heart, by the way.
Yeah.
So Tabby and I go to the church every Friday night, or Friday morning, I mean, because we do homeschool co-op. It's literally just the two of us. Originally, we thought other people might want to come and join us, and other homeschool families would join us. No, it's been a solid 2 years now. It's just me and Tabby. It's fine. We just take over the church. I let myself in. We're the only two in the entire building most of the time. Sometimes somebody will show up and they'll take a package that was delivered for them. Or one time, Condi was making a roast turkey in a giant roaster in the kitchen. And it smelled like turkey.
What you're going to see. There.
But we're the only ones there 99% of the time. And so what we do is just talk like we would at home. It's not always real couth, if you know what I mean. Like we sometimes just we overshare a bit about like our bodily functions and things. And so I had told Tabby that morning, said, I don't feel very good today. I said, I feel like I want to poop. And I said, not that I have to, I want to. I feel like it might make me feel better, but I can't, And she goes, well, you can. She's like, just go try. And I said, I already have. Nothing happened. I just want to, And she goes, yeah, I've been there before. Totally, that's a totally normal conversation. And then we just moved on. And so I was working with some of the kids on school. She takes most of them outside at that point to the parking lot because she had brought some bicycles and they started riding around in the parking lot. like 5-10 minutes go by, and I'm like, wait a minute, I think this might be my moment. And so I go to the bathroom. I'm in there a while, and I'm thinking to myself while I'm in there, I'm like, oh, Tabby's gonna know what happened because I already told her I wasn't feeling the greatest, so I'm gonna have to go and fill her in when I'm done. And I was like, I just have to go tell her.
She deserves to know.
She's gonna have to explain herself.
Right.
Yeah.
She's gonna notice my absence because she's got my kids too. And I was like, you know, even if she's not suspicious, it would be kind of funny. And so after like 15, 20 minutes or so, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go out, you know, and tell Tabby how much better I feel. And I'm like, but I can't just say I feel better.
No.
I was like, I have to say it in a creative way that will be just so disgusting that it will make her laugh, because Tabby laughs at vulgarity. And I wasn't going to be like so inappropriate you couldn't say it on the radio, but I was like, I got to find a really uncouth way that I can let her know what I've been doing in here.
Specifically, like, unnecessary. Like, the fact that she could have just come out and been like, I did it. I could have been
feel
like,
better. Yeah.
congratulations.
No, that
Yeah.
wasn't going to do. I didn't want to just say I feel better. I was like, I need to say it creatively. And so I suddenly get excited. I'm like walking down the hallway because I'm like, oh, she's going to think this is really funny. And so I like strut down the hall. And I walk. Yes, Russ, that's totally a normal thing for us to say. So, like,
That's a Brandon. It's a Brandon thing.
That a lot.
So I'm on, you know, I'm on a mission. I walk down the hallway and I go out the side door of the church. I like throw open the doors in a very dramatic fashion, and I just go, ah, like that, like really loud. Unnecessarily loud. And I look over, and Tabby's there with her baby on her hip in front of her minivan. She's standing next to her minivan, and the kids are off in the distance in the parking lot, and I can see them riding around. And she looks at me funny. Tabby looks at me weird, and I'm like, oh, she's forgotten that I had talked. She doesn't remember that I told her that I had to go to the bathroom, or I wanted to go. And so I look at her and I nod, and I'm like, I just pooped. And I said just like that. And she like raises her eyebrows, and I'm like, come on. Like, I didn't say come on, but in my head I'm going, come on, Tabby.
She's like, eh?
Like,
Yeah.
you know where I'm going with this. So I start taking a few more steps toward, no, well, first I said a lot. And that's when she goes, congratulations. And so I'm like, here it goes. I'm going to make her laugh. So I take like 3 more steps toward her, and I go, I feel like the weight of the world. And I stop right there because I look down at the license plate on her minivan, and it's got a handicap symbol on it. And I was like, wait a minute. And so I look at her, and I look at the van, and I look up, and the window is open, and a man from our church is sitting in the driver's side talking to Tabby through the open passenger window. And I'm like quickly, you know, my brain is ping ponging. I'm like, wait, not her car. Dave Baxter is standing there. They're sitting there in the van. And so I had already said, I feel like the weight of the world. And as I stop, Dave says out the window, I finally reached the window, and he goes, you feel like the weight of the world? And I said, very casually, has just been lifted off my shoulders. And I said, but we haven't done a lot of school today. And so I probably better grab one of my kids and go do something. And he's like, well, they'll be fine without doing school for a couple of minutes. And I was like, yeah, but, you know, probably better. I said, well, what are you doing here? You know, and he goes, oh, my wife's here practicing on the organ. And so like we just smoothly glide into, you know, conversation. The whole time, Tabby and I are literally inches apart. Like, don't think about it, we'll laugh. Don't think about it, we'll laugh.
So you're talking to Dave.
And so I do finally take one of my kids back into the church. And I was like, you know, good to see you, Dave. And so we go into the church, but Tabby is still talking to him for another like 15, 20 minutes. And so I say, well, I didn't say anything except goodbye to them. And then 15, 20 minutes goes by. And Tabby comes into the church later. By that time, she has forgotten the scene. Like, she's temporarily forgotten that whole thing happened. So I just looked up from the table where I was working with Emery, and I go,
well, because I thought that was the end. I thought this was the end of the scene. You had dodged a bullet. You were smooth because in my head, you knew that I was standing next to somebody else's car. You just didn't know the window was down, which is why I was trying to be stoic because
So
she was
Tabby
like,
thought it was over.
a
She
lot.
didn't
And so
realize that Amanda had not delivered her line yet.
No, Tabby's sitting there changing Warren's diaper, and I go, so, Tabby, what I was going to say. And as soon as I say what I was going to say, she starts laughing like she's doing that. She starts laughing because it reminded her that whole thing had taken place. And she goes, what? I thought that you knew. And I was like, no. I thought it was your minivan. I had no idea Dave was anywhere in the vicinity. And I said, but I caught myself just in time because what I was going to say was, wow, I feel like the weight of the world has been lifted off my butthole. She lost.
I couldn't stop. I was like,
she goes, oh my gosh, I so wish you had told Dave Caster the weight of the world had been taken off your butthole. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
That was only intended for Tabby. It was never intended to go anywhere else.
I was not going to utter that phrase any more than once, let alone like 12 times since then, while I confessed to Dad and Luke and to my mother-in-law and to my uncle this morning. And like I've told that story so many times now.
Well, it's so the reason.
So dumb.
Part of the reason it's funny. It's funny for a lot of reasons, but that's such a dumb way to phrase it anyway. It doesn't even make sense.
That's why it was going to make her laugh. I knew it would be funny.
Right.
I did not know that what God was planning was for it to be funny for two reasons. It's horribly crass for no reason, just to be gross, and a guy from church unknowingly almost heard that come out of my mouth.
So from my perspective, I'm standing next to obviously not my minivan because my minivan is right in front of the doors. She ceremoniously flings open. And so I'm thinking she just doesn't realize his window is down. So when she first yells, I just pooped a lot. I was like, okay, I don't think she knows I need to keep a cool head here, which I'm not good at. And so I was like, congratulations. And I'm like, how do I signal to her that this window is down without being like, Dave Caster heard you yell you pooped. So that's when she starts walking over.
I was so excited to say my big joke, my big punchline, that I did not notice anything except, oh, there's Tabby standing next to her minivan. Yeah.
She was blinded by the funny. Oh, and it made my day even better. And so I just thought that you saw his window was down as you got closer. And so I was like, way to be smooth. Oh, hi, buddy.
Nope, it was the handicap symbol on the back of their van that I was
Warren.
like, wait. Yes. Hi, Warren.
There's Warren.
You want to say hi?
Hi.
You want to go up there?
Mwah.
Are you good for night? Okay. All right, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Warren. There he
Bye-bye.
goes.
So,
right.
Oh man, that's all. We ran late tonight because of my story.
Yeah, but it was worth it. All right. So you have to wrap us up now.
I don't think I can after this.
If the weight of the world is on
if
your
you
shoulders.
Can't get enough toilet humor, if you can't get enough talking about bathroom things, then you can support the show by going to johnbrandon.com, becoming a member of our clique. And there will be more talk in the after party tonight, I'm sure. The link to the after party is on the members only homepage. And once you become a clicker, you will have access to that most weeks after the show, immediately afterwards. So
most weeks.
You can also, Juwan wasn't here tonight, but his son Jesse is quite the catch. And
you're older than Marcy.
If you ever want to embarrass Marcy, you can just mention Jesse. And I think that they wrapped up their spring tour, but they're going to go on their summer one here in the next few weeks. So castingcrowns.com to find out where he's going to be. Support JT at johnthomasoaks.com. We desperately need to talk about his idea in the after party because we need to make it happen, but we're doing the thing adults do where they're like, that's such a good idea. And then we just don't do it. JT has written multiple musicals, and we want to take advantage of that and use it for SKUs, but we still haven't.
We
So
were just talking about that before you got your
my
stuff
sound to
together.
work. We're
And
gonna
our
do it.
album.
Yes, in an album. Eventually, we're going to make it happen. Brian wasn't with us tonight. Did you mention why Brian isn't here tonight?
I did not, because I didn't know if I was at liberty to say. I didn't know if I could disclose.
He's just
that
recovering.
information.
He's recovering. I think that he's
He
going
had
to give us a before and
procedure.
after when he's recovered, and we can see to be reminded what he looked like before, and we can.
We
see
got
what
a
he looks
polo
like
from
now.
him while he was under the influence of heavy sedation, and it was
Really funny.
yeah. We'll show that. Maybe we'll show that in the after party.
And you're running out of time, but you can still get your tickets to join us. We sold some more tickets this last week to Vacay with Comics in 2023.
Away we go.
July 27th through 30th. That actually, the 27th is if you come early. 28th through 30th is the official date, but you can come early with an Ultra ticket, get Ultra tickets for all of your family, and then you can join us on Thursday, the 27th. So it's going to be fun. I'm getting more and more excited. The closer we get to being done with school, the more excited I get about Vacay. Right now, it just feels like school's never going to end. But how should we read the credits tonight?
In rhyme.
In rhyme.
And
In
pentameter.
rhyme. Okay, we can do it.
All right, well then go for it.
We can do it. The comedy click is making me sick. Louise Bear, she don't care.
Donna Baumgartner, she tries harder. And
Stand
Derek
right.
James,
Pat
he's
Edgington.
not the same.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nathaniel
Pat
Luke,
Edgington.
he might have to puke.
Uh,
Amanda Paul, well, that ain't all. Jeff Spiller, he's so killer. James Ward loves the Lord.
Larry York, he eats with a fork. Okay.
I didn't do one.
Goodbye.
No way. Excuse me, I'm on the phone. That's rude. No.